Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Eric Worre and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here again with Len Clements. We're here to talk about different issues in regards to the network marketing profession. He is an expert when it comes to this profession, an expert witness, and kind of a guru when it comes to the legalities of everything, and spent a good portion of his career debunking some of the critics of network marketing. And one of the things that a lot of critics tend to say is that is a flawed business model. The business model itself doesn't work. You know why it doesn't work? Because most people don't succeed. Most people come in and they go out, it doesn't work out for them, and because it doesn't succeed, the business model is a joke. What do you have to say to those people? What's your response to them?
It's interesting because these same, what I referred to in an earlier show as anti-MLM zealots, they love to cite the overall participation, all the people who just buy a kit, they just sign up as a distributor, and what percentage of them reach their income goal or even make a profit. To me, I liken that to a drug company that gives a new pain medication to 100 different people, and they say, take the product and tell us, how many of you got complete elimination of your pain, and 10 of them actually consume the product. 90 of them take the capsule. Maybe they smell it, lick it a little bit or whatever, and then they just throw it away and they don't consume the product. I believe that we should only then count the 10 people that took the product, and 9 of them got relief from their pain. That's a 90% success.
In other words, it's not a fair test.
Right.
If
they want us to count the 90
who didn't actually consume, use the product or go through the experience, you can't count them in the data, is what you're basically
right, exactly. An analogy I kind of referenced briefly in an earlier show was gym memberships, which I think is just so right on. If you sign up for a gym membership and you go into the gym and you run on the treadmill for 20 minutes and and then you say, okay, I worked out, and you leave, and you do that for 1 or 2 days and then you quit, or however most of us perform go to the gym. Most people sign up for a gym membership, never show up again to the gym ever. So, and then a very small percentage, literally maybe 2, 3, 4, 5%, go to the gym, they get a personal trainer, they work out like crazy, they eat right, they do everything, and they reach their goal. Well, 95% of people that sign up for gym memberships probably don't reach their health and conditioning goals.
And what's funny about your analogy is, in society, nobody blames the gym.
I know, there's no anti-gym zealots out there.
Nobody blames the gym, saying, you evil gym people, the gyms don't work. What they're saying is, if you don't go, people have accepted responsibility, basically. And you know what? I bet you more people have spent more money on unused gym memberships than they have on network marketing experience, buying the product inside of network marketing, right?
Right, yeah.
It's so interesting example.
Yeah, because that's what happens in this business. By the way, there is no number that tells us how many people don't make a profit. It's a made-up number out of thin air. I've heard anywhere from 92, 95, 98, 99.9. I will confess that it probably is in the 90 percentile, but it's not a flaw in the business model.
That don't take the pill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they sign up, they get a few no's, and they quit. I mean, we look at a company like Yusan is a great example, because that's a company that was recently attacked on this basis back in 97 or 07 by a short seller, essentially. But another point, but they put out data that says that the point at which you reach the level in their plan where you're most likely to get a profit, it takes about 18 months to get to. I think it was something like 75% of their distributors quit in the first year, and everybody kept hitting them like, well, 75% quit in their first year, and like 80% never made a profit. Well, your first statistic explained the second statistic. It's not a flaw in their business model. It's because they all quit. And by the way, the majority of those 75% that quit in the first few weeks, not a year. They didn't even give it a chance at all, and that's typical in almost every company out there. People just don't do what they're supposed to do well enough, or long enough, or do it long enough to do it well enough. They just quit.
And I'll tell you, here's the numbers that I use for people, and this has been my experience, and you tell me if anecdotally this is your experience. I tell people, if they work at this on a part-time basis, in 1 year I can show them how to become profitable by the end of a year. And I'm talking 5, 10 hours a week.
That's realistic.
3 years, they could go full-time. If they devote themselves part-time for 3 years, they can decide to make a career out of this. In 5 years, they could become a high-income earner, and in 7 years, they could become world-class. 7 years of devoted effort, they could become world-class. And that's the numbers that I've seen that has worked. So, you know, anything outside of that, people are expecting more. I don't see that it's there.
If you look at all the most successful distributors throughout network marketing industry, and that is this business duplication. Just look at all the most successful people, and what do? They all have one thing in common. They had a laser beam focus on one company for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't do it by hopping from company to company, you know, and all this kind of stuff. They focused on one company, not a whole bunch of them all at once, and they had at least a 2-year plan. And no matter what happened, like for example, in my previous company where I had most of my success, I'll never forget, in my 6th month, I made $74.75. And now most people at that point would go, this doesn't work. I'm getting bombarded by all these people around me saying they're going to make me richer, faster, easier. But my 23rd month is when it hit 5 digits monthly. Because your income doesn't go up at a 45-degree diagonal line.
No.
You know, your downline goes into a little momentum phase, just like a company's just a big downline.
Yeah.
So your individual downline has a foundation stage, a momentum stage, you know, critical mass stage.
Sure.
It goes through that too. People just don't hang out long enough for that to kick in.
Does the 1, 3, 5, and 7 year marks, does that line up with what you've seen other people do?
There's a lot of variables, of course, but I think that's a very realistic presentation. Absolutely.
Yeah, as far as a general rule. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, I love the example of the health club and the pharmaceutical company saying 100 people take the pill and 90 never take it. 10 do. Let's study the 10, not the 90.
Right.
We got to pull those people out. The people who join network marketing for 5 seconds thinking that they're going to get rich. They talked to 5 friends. 2 of them went boo, and then it was over. It's very hard for us to count those people.
There's always going to be people that do everything right and still fail. That happens in every profession and every activity. But if you only count the people that actually took the pill, I guarantee you that the success rate in this industry would not be 5%. It would be much, much, much larger.
Yeah. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, realistic goals. I know everybody watching this show is committed to the 1, 3, 5, 7-year path in order to be able to achieve your dreams. What we need to do is educate people as to what they need to expect in order to be able to look reasonably at success. In other words, if we set in people's minds an expectation of the 1, 3, 5, and 7-year benchmark, the chances of them going through that, even on a part-time basis, is very, very good. If we promise them the moon in the first 2 weeks, you're going to end up with a result that you're not going to like. So, ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro. It is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Till tomorrow. See you next time. Bye-bye.